You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in to Watson's Playbook. All right, guys, welcome into episode number 14 of Watson's Playbook. I hope you guys have had a great week. I hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend this last weekend. It is Wednesday today. So I have, as far as going on with my life, we laid my grandma to rest on Friday. We had a funeral on Friday for her, and we were able to we just did a graveside burial. So we were all outside. We didn't have to wear any masks because we could social distance and all that good stuff. But it was nice. We were able to get up there. I got up there and talked. My Uncle Ray talked and my brother talked, and we really hit home on what grandma meant to us, and what a great, wonderful woman she was. And, you know, every family has their arguments, and me and my uncle got into it a while back, and we were able to, I was wondering if there's going to be any awkwardness at this funeral. But when we came together, he lives out in California, they came down, and when we got together for the funeral, we were able to kind of bury the hatchets and kind of just move on. So I was glad that was able to happen. And it actually went really well that weekend, that Friday. So we had some extended family come over to stay with us. So a lady named Mandy, she adopted my oldest brother's, one of his daughters back in the day. She adopted her and another her sister. And they have 6 kids, and I never met Mandy before, but she came down and stayed with us. She was planning on staying in a hotel room. Some got mixed up. She came over with 6 kids, and we just kind of had a big family over, and it was nice and a blessing to get to know them. And I think sometime we're going to make a trip up to Kansas where they live and visit them. And they seem like really cool people, and our kids got along so well, and it was really nice just to have them over at the house, and glad it worked out that where they could stay with us. Work's been going good. I hope you guys, this work's going good, and hope you guys continue to stay happy and positive out there. And so I'm going to make up some switches up to this podcast, and it's not really anything big. So, you know, we got the 5th down segment where I talk about 5 topics of the week that happened. And my main topic of the week was I just call it the main dish. I'm going to actually change that. I was looking for different names for it. And my cousin Eric, shout out to you, gave me a perfect idea. I'm going to start calling it the Tee Box. And the reason he came up with this idea is because the Tee Box is where in golf, where the golfer would go up and start his hole. He would start up, put the ball on the tee, and start the round of golf. And also, a lot of good conversations are started with started over tee. good conversations happen over tea. So I'm going to name it the Tea Box. Do kind of a play on words there, and so that's going to be called the Tea Box. I'm also going to do another segment called the Sidelines. It's going to be little side notes of stuff that came down after I make up my fifth down segment and stuff that may come rumbling in sports news that I feel like should be shared to you guys. I'm going to call it the Sidelines. So that's basically the only changes right now going forward. So just trying to look for ways to better this podcast for you that listen and better it and make it sound more professional. But we're going to go ahead and get into the fifth down segment here. On first down here, we got the NCAA is not allowing Big Ten or Pac-12 players to transfer to play. The Big Ten and Pac-12 came out a couple weeks ago and said they will postpone their seasons, which they're not going to postpone. They're going to have to cancel them. We talked about that last episode in Watson's playbook. So I found out that they're not going to allow those players to transfer to play college football. They're not going to allow those players to transfer to play any other sports, which I think it should be against the rules. If you're refusing to allow me to play my sports, which is going to be, for some of them, going to be their livelihood, whether they make it to the NFL or whether they make it into college baseball and the major leagues, whatever, you're hindering their opportunity. So you should then give them an opportunity to transfer to another school and play their sport. I think it's ridiculous. I think it should be against the laws. You've got a lot of angry parents writing letters going up to the universities saying this is not right, guys. So there's petitions being started to move forward to play football. There's been I've heard talks about they're actually going to sue these schools to see if they can force them to play football. There's a lot of anger with people with the Pac-12, Big Ten schools that aren't being allowed to play football, and I think it is. It's hard for me to pick a side because I understand both sides of it. Look, my daughter started school today, but she started school on the computer in her room. We kept her home from school. She's only 7. She's only in second grade. So I get why they don't want to start school, but I also get that these players that have been looking forward to this their whole life and looking forward to, especially the seniors and juniors, looking forward to going to the NFL draft, you're killing an opportunity that they have to show off their skills to get into the draft and whatever that draft process is going to look like after this next year, because not a lot of schools are going to be playing football, but that's a whole other subject. So I agree with the anger towards it. If I was a parent or a player, if I was a player, I would be super mad. If I was a parent that my kid was in that position, I would be super angry as well. And so there's a lot of anger going towards that. They won't allow him to transfer. Now, I thought they were going to allow them to transfer. I thought we were going to be a bunch of people jumping ship to go play. That is not being allowed. And I think that itself is ridiculous. I think it should be not allowed. I understand you want to cancel your season for safety issues, but therefore you should give me the opportunity to go play if I'm willing to risk it. So I think it's a little horrible from the NCAA to do that. So second down here in the fifth down segment here of Watson's playbook, Tom Bredeman used a homophobic slur on live broadcast of the Reds game last week. This is over the weekend. And he said he uses the F word as a homophobic slur. I'm not going to say it on the podcast here. But what an idiotic thing. He's a broadcaster. He's around a live mic. He's around a mic that could go live any minute. And he was having a conversation. He said what he said. And then he apologizes in the fourth inning. He apologizes while still calling the game and says that's not who he is. He's very sorry. He apologizes to the people he may have offended. And then he apologizes to the person writing his checks, since he doesn't know if he'll ever put on the microphone again for them or anybody else. He's been pulled from the NFL football games. He did do NFL football games as well as baseball. I just think it's boneheaded, this move. You only apologize because you got caught. You don't feel sorry. I always believe that you are who you are when no one's watching. And so I believe this guy does have an issue. And if that is how he feels, that's upon him. But to spread that over a live broadcast is pretty idiotic. And I can do things on this podcast and I can say whatever I want because it's a podcast show. It's not going out live over the air for millions to view. And here is I'm not being paid to do it. So I can say what I want. Now I still keep it pretty clean, and I still talk about things I want to talk about. But I just, what a dumb move! What a dumb move! I know he didn't mean he didn't mean to get caught. Not that I didn't mean he didn't mean to say it. He didn't mean to get caught. But that is a dumb decision. All right, third down here in Watson's playbook. Darius Geis, first of all, gets released by the Washington football team. I almost threw out the Redskins name there, but I didn't. Washington's football team. He got released because of a domestic violence. Now, this guy is a pretty messed up individual. You go look at what he did. Apparently, he choked out his girlfriend until she passed out. He abused her, beat her. Horrible human being. Darius Geis got released by the Washington Redskins, and but that's not the story I'm talking about here. The story I'm talking about here is he played football for the LSU Tigers. And in LSU, apparently, while he was there, two girls have come out and said that they have, Darius Geis has raped them. And they told the schools, and they told the coaches, and the coaches hit it, swept it under the rug, and hit it up. That is a huge accusation. Darius Geis has already been known as a woman beater. Wouldn't surprise me if these accounts are true. Now, to tell them and them hide it up is ridiculous. And I think that also, it falls in the same line as everything's run by money. Darius Geis made money because he was a good football player. He made money, brought in viewers and everything else for LSU and was going to help them win. And we've seen it all the time in college football. All the time. You see Baylor. Baylor had a huge case of this going on, that even the police officers and everything else, if they were a football player, they could get away with whatever they wanted because they're a football player, and that's what mattered, which I think is sick, obviously. It is ridiculous. And if this is true, they're going to jump into an investigation. This will be probably the biggest school to go down for this, to be punished for this. Apparently, Coach Orgeron was there when it happened, and it's a bad look for him. I really like the guy. I think he's a great coach, but I will not like him if this is true and he hit it up. This is ridiculous, and this is why a lot of times girls don't come forward when this happens right away, because they don't think they'll be believed because of stories like this, because they get swept under the rug. And it's obviously disgusting. I have 4 girls myself. I can only imagine what that person, those girls feel like that happened to them, what their families feel like. Nothing happened. Nothing became of this. So I hope they do an investigation. And look, I hope these girls are just making it up. But Darius Geis, the way he is, the way he was, the way he choked out his girlfriend, just got cut by the Washington football team for abusing his girlfriend and almost killing her. He could have easily killed her. I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I don't want to be to say he's guilty, but I can see it happening if he's already a woman beater. That this happened. I hope it's not true, but they're going to do an investigation, and I hope that it's found. The truth is found, and if it means LSU's got to be punished for that, or a coach has to be fired for that, whatever it takes to let this know that this is not going to be tolerated. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a star football player. It doesn't matter if you rape someone. You should be punished. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, anything like that. So I hope the truth comes out of this, and I hope that we see some heads roll if it turns out that these girls are telling the truth. Number 4 episode, or 4th down here, the Baltimore Ravens have parted ways with Earl Thomas. Now, Earl Thomas just signed a big contract with him. He was leaving Seattle. He got picked up by Baltimore. They gave him a 3 or 4 year, I think it was a 3-year deal worth 50-something million, and they gave him a $20 million signing bonus. Look, Earl Thomas has been one of the best defensive players in football. He was on the Legion of Boom when they won the Super Bowl. He was a big part of that, and he left Seattle. He had a big problem with Seattle. He flipped off the coach of Seattle after he broke his leg there. Some issues. He's already had some issues going on. Turns out over this off season, true story, it's going to be a crazy story. His wife catches him in bed with his brother and another lady. It's got him cheating. She goes to jail because she came in and held him at gunpoint. That happened all over the offseason. Some crazy stuff going loose in his head. Turns out more came out about the story. The Baltimore Ravens said that he was missing practices, not showing up. He was late to meetings because he had to get his car washed. And there was a fight that broke out between him and another player because Earl Thomas missed his assignment. The other team scored, and this other player threw his helmet, got mad at him. They broke into a fight. The Ravens sent him home, and people all around the organization, players, coaches, came in and said, this guy has to go. They didn't even care about the ramifications of cutting him, how much money they were going to lose. They're trying to go back and get the $10 million out of his contract that they have already paid him, I believe. So if all that being said is true, I don't want Earl Thomas on my football team. There's been a lot of talk about the Dallas Cowboys because last year he went to Jerry Jones or he went to Jason Garrett and then said, hey, come get me. I want to be a Dallas Cowboy. So there's been a lot of talks about him going to Dallas and stuff. But I think whoever picks him up, they have to do their due diligence, and they have to be able to do maybe a psych evaluation, see where he's at mentally. Has he checked out on football? Did he not want to be the Baltimore Ravens? Did he want to force his way out? I don't know. I think someone will pick him up because no one will want him right now. And I think when it gets closer, I think you'll have to take a deep pay cut. And I think maybe the Cowboys might get him if he can. If he decides he wants to play for a little money, but he's a head case. He's not as good as a player as he used to be. He's a good player. He's not a great player. So I don't know how much you're willing to deal with for just a good player in the backfield. I think on the defensive backfield, I think that he could help out the Dallas Cowboys because it's one of the biggest needs they need is cornerback. So we'll see what happens. Jerry Jones came out and said that they're still interested, even though reports say they are not interested at all. So we'll see what happens there. All right. And 5th down here in Watson's playbook. And this is a little embarrassing for me, being a Texas Ranger fan. Fernando Tatis, this was last week, he murdered the Rangers. He murdered us. Himself. They were playing the Padres. They hit a grand slam in 4 straight games against us. That's how pathetic the Rangers are. But Fernando Tatis hit a 3-run shot, I believe, in the 6th inning, and he came up in the 8th. The Rangers were already down 7, bases loaded on a 3-0 count. The Padres gave him the take sign. Apparently, he didn't catch the sign, and he hit a grand slam. He swung on 3-0, and the Rangers thought that was disrespectful because of the unwritten rules of baseball. And we threw at Manny Machado, behind Manny Machado, the next pitch. So we were the laughingstock of the Major League Baseball for a weekend. Tatis Jr. the next day stole third base on the 7th inning or 8th inning when they were up by 6, just to kind of rub it in, I think. But it makes the Texas Rangers look weak. We already suck at baseball. We can't do that right. There's a lot of things I want to say about Texas Rangers, and I might go into a rant on another episode about how bad they are and how pathetic they are. But this is just ridiculous. The unwritten rules of baseball, first of all, are ridiculous. And to tell this guy that he can't swing a bat, which is his job to swing a bat, is ridiculous. It made us look very weak. Weak-minded, weak team, weak coached. We're a horrible baseball team, as most of you can tell. I just don't get it. We look very soft. And that's exactly what it made it out to be, is we're a soft baseball team. And to tell a guy that he can't swing on 3-0, but if it gets to 3-1, okay, you can swing, okay, you can try again. It's just ridiculous. Think about that. You're telling a guy that he shouldn't try to do his job. Hey, I got to throw right down the middle because I made poor decisions and poor pitch locations. It got to a 3-0 count. The bases are loaded. Please don't swing. I'm going to throw a strike and then you can swing. How dumb does that sound? The unwritten rules of baseball are stupid. I wish someone needs to. There might be a book out there about the unwritten rules. We need to write these down and give them to each player so they know these rules. I want a copy. I want to read all these unwritten rules of baseball. But I think that's the problem with baseball as well. They talk about having a issue with showing someone up and not being too fancy and all this stuff. But I think it's your issue. Look, the Texas Rangers got mad a couple years ago when Batista did a bat flip. And he hit a home run to win a series in the playoffs. Excuse me. He hit a home run to win the series in the playoffs. The biggest hit of this guy's career. And he bat flipped. And the bat flip was disrespectful the way he did it, all right? It was disrespectful. But we need more of that. We need some showmanship. We need someone to say, to come up here, and Fernando Tatis is that guy. We need to have these guys to be promotable, to promote their players. MLB does a horrible job of promoting their players. If you were to ask 10 people around on the streets or sports fans, maybe would they be able to list the top 3, top 5 baseball players, famous baseball players? Probably not, because they don't market their players like they should, and they don't allow their players to have this freedom of showboating of, I'm going to hit a home run, I'm going to bat flip, I'm going to do things, if I'm a pitcher on the mound, I strike you out, I'm going to let you know, hey, I got the best of you. Good luck next time. I want all that emotion in baseball. I think it's great for the game, but there's so many people and so that these unwritten rules that say it's so disrespectful to the game and so disrespectful to other players that they don't want it in their game. I think it definitely needs to be in the game. So I agree with Fernando Tatis. If you don't want me to hit a swing in a 3-0 pitch, don't get my count to 3-0. Pitch a better ball. I think it's ridiculous, and we're a soft baseball team. And I'm going to go on a rant one day about the Rangers and about how PO'd I am really at them and how we need to, as fans, I'm calling it out now, we need to call for the owner's heads. Sell this team. Sell the team. You don't put any money into it. Anyways, before I go into that rant and go into that here, I'm going to stop myself. Being a Texas Rangers fan is quite aggravating. All right, we're going to jump into the new segment called Sidelines. It's just a couple little side notes of stuff that happened during this week. So
this is a big 20-second timeout for Chicago because it allows Jordan to get some rest before he goes to the free throw line to try to knock down 2.
76ers and the Pacers fire their coach. Pacers got swept by the Miami Heat in these playoffs. They fire their coach. And the 76ers fire their coach after 7 or 8 years. And you've got an interesting – the 76ers are very interesting. They got Joel Embiid. They got Ben Simmons, 2 guys that they want to play together. They're going to force them to play together. And not that they don't get along, but their games don't go together very well. They had Jimmy Butler last year. I was kind of hoping they would stay and kind of make their own power team there. Jimmy Butler left because of the head coach. Rumors of the head coach and the way the front office worked. So 76ers are a team that has talent, and you think they're going to come out here and play good and play good and play good, and then they don't. They make the playoffs, but they don't win. They don't win anything. And this whole trust the process thing has flopped, has failed, and they've got to start over. They've been rebuilding for a while. They've overpaid guys. Horford that came from Boston Celtics last year, they gave a big contract to this year, hasn't done much. There's another guy, I can't think of his name. He's supposed to be their third player. They paid him a lot of money, and it didn't work out. And he's not Tobias Harris. He's not playing very well. So a lot of interesting things going on there in Philadelphia. I think the fans have got to be pretty mad about this. Embiid tells them trust the process. And rumors are, and I think, well, let me take that back. There aren't rumors. They need to trade Ben Simmons or Embiid to get some more talent in there and to see if they can work that out. If I'm trading one of those away, it's got to be Ben Simmons because he can't shoot. He cannot shoot the basketball. And if you can't shoot the basketball in the NBA, you're not very good. Someone will overpay for him. But the owner came out and said, we do not plan on trading either one of them. We plan on making it work. Now, that being said, I don't know if that's just sugarcoating it. Or saying what he needs to say to kind of keep them happy until he figures it out. So Celtics and Raptors are talking about boycotting the first game of the playoffs tomorrow night because of the recent events in Milwaukee. I'm not going to get into the politics on this show anymore. I'm not going to do it unless I feel like it has to be talked about. But the shooting that happened in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, or not Milwaukee, but happened in Wisconsin, they're thinking about boycotting the game 1, which would do nothing. No one cares about you boycotting a game. It's not going to do anything. Period. No one's going to be like, oh, man, the NBA game is being boycotted. Man, that really means something. They don't care. So I think it'd be dumb for them to boycott it. Anyways, Clippers and Mavericks play last night. Clippers take a stronghold series lead 3-2. They dominate the Mavericks and score 153 points. But the story here in this game is Morris intentionally tries to step on, or he does step on, Luka Doncic's ankle and tries to injure him. I think that is a disgusting move by Marcus Morris. I hope, and the Mavericks, they have sent a couple of videos into the league to try to see if they can get him suspended or fined or whatnot going into this next game, I guess. Not that I think he's a key player, but I think it's just a disgusting move to see from him to intentionally try to hurt another player. That being said, we are going to jump into the tee box here.
Oh my God, you got a hold of that one.
I'd like to see you try it.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks.
Sorry, ladies, I'm not the golfing type.
I'll tell you what, you hit a ball past my ball, and we'll go straight back to work so you can watch your precious hockey game.
Give me the stupid club. Look at this stupid thing.
This is going to be hilarious. Look, I'm standing.
You like that?
And this discussion this week is going to be basically, I thought it would be a good idea to do a segment, to do this called New Faces in New Places. And this happens all the time in the NFL, where people move around and maybe you forget it. And maybe you're like, oh, that player plays here now, or oh, that coach is here now. And especially this season, with all the craziness going on in the offseason, the coronavirus going on, we may have forgot who went where, the big names went, and what that might look like. So I've kind of went back and looked up the people who went places, and we're going to kind of talk about that right here today on the T-Box episode number 14 of Watson's Playbook. So then first of all, I'm going to start with Tom Brady. I think it's the biggest transaction move this offseason. The Patriots move on from Tom Brady, who's been some people call the GOAT quarterback of the NFL. He's won multiple championships with them. They decided to move on, which I think is a good move because Tom Brady, in my opinion, is washed up. Now, that being said, I still think Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be a good team. You know why? Because they got a great wide receiver core, and they got a good defense, and that's why they will be good. Now, Tom Brady goes there. He leaves the Patriots, goes to Tampa Bay. My biggest question about this move is, will it work with Bruce Arians? Because Bruce Arians likes to throw the ball downfield, right? He likes to air the ball out and have deep passes, and I think Jameis Winston worked perfect for that system if he didn't throw 30 interceptions last year. So that was a big issue with them. They let him go. They signed Tom Brady. Will it work? Now, Tom Brady is a guy that has been a get the ball out of your hand quick kind of guy. He gets the ball out of his hand quick, doesn't give the defense enough time to hit him. That's the way the Patriot system's worked. So can Tom Brady come out here in the Bruce Arians system, air the long ball out? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to find out. They did draft a offensive lineman in the first round to protect Tom Brady and keep him upright because the offensive line was a little shady there last year. And that may have been part of the reason that Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions. But their defense is good. They got Shaq Barrett on the outside, dominated last year. I think he was a sack leader in the NFL, dominated, and their defense is pretty decent. Not only that, but they bring Rob Gronkowski out of retirement. The Patriots agreed to trade him to Tampa Bay as well. So there's a familiar face there as well. So they get those two guys in the offseason. Their defense is good. Coach Arians is a pretty good coach. And I think they still will have a successful season, probably go 10-6 is my prediction. So we'll start off there with the NFC South. The Saints get Malcolm Jenkins from the Eagles and Emmanuel Sanders from the Denver Broncos. Malcolm Jenkins is a decent quarterback for the Eagles. He did okay. They pick him up there at the Saints to help out the defense, and then they add on Emmanuel Sanders. And Emmanuel Sanders is a veteran wide receiver that knows what he's doing. He worked really well last year for the 49ers. I was hoping Green Bay would go out and get him last year to help Aaron Rodgers out, which obviously didn't happen. But he made the Super Bowl last year with the 49ers. He's a really good wide receiver, and they got rid of him because Denver Broncos got rid of him, I think, because obviously they got Jerry Jeudy in the draft to help them out. So the Panthers add Teddy Bridgewater. They got to go along with this new coach in Carolina, and they got a whole new coaching group. They got rid of Cam Newton, and they've got Teddy Bridgewater. And I'm not a big believer in Teddy Bridgewater. Hopefully he proves me wrong there, but he's got a uphill battle to prove that he's going to be a good quarterback, to learn a new system with a new head coach, to start a rebuild, basically what's they're going to do. And this coach gets his system in there and see what's going on. They added Robbie Anderson from the Jets to help him out as well. He was another wide receiver I wanted the Packers to go get. They didn't do that. So they added Robbie Anderson to help him out on the offensive side. Atlanta's big move was they added Todd Gurley from the Los Angeles Rams. And the Rams, Todd Gurley was a beast for him, right? Was a beast. They went to the Super Bowl. They lost. He was a beast. And then last year, or going into the playoffs, I believe that year they went to the Super Bowl. He had some knee issues, and we didn't know. They used him a lot less, and after giving him this big, huge contract, there was talks about how he had some arthritis in his knees. I don't know what he's got left. And Atlanta's taking a big risk on him. I don't know what they sign him to. They give a lot of money for him. But they are giving up. It's a big risk to take him if they're, obviously if they don't pay him a lot of money, it's not a big risk, and maybe you get a really good running back. But I know he's owed a lot of money from the Rams. I don't know if they took upon that contract upon them or not. But what else does Todd Gurley have left? I guess we're going to find out. He will help them out in which ways he can when he can get on the field. So I don't know if his knees will get better. I hope it works out for them. I think that team is a good team. They have good wide receivers. I think Matt Ryan's a little overrated. He's had plenty of talent there and has not succeeded. So, but that's a whole different situation and a whole other topic there. We'll jump into the NFC West here. The Cardinals make a trade for DeAndre Hopkins from Houston. It's a big ad. They got Kyle Murray, their new quarterback, and he did okay last year. He wasn't great. He wasn't completely terrible. But they added a new offensive weapon to go along with Larry Fitzgerald. I think this is Larry Fitzgerald's last season, and they're able to help that offense get an explosive wide receiver. I think Houston was dumb for letting him go, but they traded him away, and they also got rid of a running back that was injury prone, and David Johnson, who was injury prone and was hurt a lot and didn't do much for them. So I hope he can find his back to the level that he can play and help out the Houston Texans. But that being said, big pickup for the Cardinals. Seattle lands Jamal Adams from the Jets. Jamal Adams forced his way out of New York. He goes to Seattle, and Seattle gave up way too much for a safety, a strong safety, way too much for his position value. Gave up the farm system, gave up way too much. Like I said, they gave up quarterback value for their strong safety, a lot of first-round picks. They also grabbed Greg Olsen to help out with the offense. Now, excuse me, I think Greg Olsen was a good tight end. He's always been a good tight end for Cam Newton there and the Carolina Panthers when he played there. And he's been injured the last couple of years. He's been battling, I think, a foot and ankle injury. I don't know how much he has left to help out. And look, Adams will be a good player. There's no doubting Adams is a good football player. Like I said, they gave up way too much for his position value, and I hope that doesn't bite them in the end. There's a lot of things that they do. There's some things they do right in Seattle because they continuously win 10 games no matter who they have because they have Russell Wilson. But I think there's a lot of things they do wrong in Seattle. But that's a whole different story as well. We're going to jump to the NFC North here. The Bears get Nick Foles from the Jacksonville Jaguars to help out with the quarterback job because we all knew Teddy Bridgewater sucks, and the Bears are having a hard time admitting that they screwed up. When they drafted Trubisky, they jumped up and they drafted him over Patrick Mahomes, which I can't kill him for, right? No one knew Patrick Mahomes coming out of college, Texas Tech, was going to be anything, right? No one knew that. So I can't kill you for passing up on Patrick Mahomes. But then they passed up on Deshaun Watson. They didn't even interview Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, the quarterback in Clemson, who went to the national championship, who won national championships. The guy that we know that can play in big spots. They didn't even interview the guy. Passed up, went to Mitch Trubisky, and they're now admitting, basically, after getting Nick Foles, admitting that there's going to be a quarterback competition and that they screwed up. So Nick Foles, obviously, you know who he is. He helped the Eagles come. He packed up Carson Wentz, and the Eagles helped him go to the Super Bowl when Carson Wentz was hurt, and he helped beat the Patriots and win Super Bowl. He goes to Jacksonville, a team that doesn't have a lot of talent, doesn't do very good, and gets replaced by another young quarterback. And he is now fighting for the starting position in Chicago. Now, I don't know there's going to be really a open competition. I haven't seen that for sure from the Chicago Bears. It's just my guess. Now I'm guessing there will be, but maybe they give Trubisky the start, and if when he starts screwing up, which will probably be game one, they can throw Nick Foles out there and see what they got. They also added Robert Quinn, who had 10 sacks last year for Dallas, and they paid him a big amount of money. I don't think he deserves that big amount of money for a guy that's only proven it 1 year. But we'll see what happens. He did line up on the other side of DeMarcus Lawrence last year, so that helped him get open. But he's going to be lined up on the opposite side of Khalil Mack this season. So that should help him be effective in getting to the quarterback. But the Bears still suck. So they also added Jimmy Graham, and they paid him quite a bit of money. They drafted a tight end, and then they paid a lot of money for a tight end that is washed out. Jimmy Graham played for the Green Bay Packers. I'm not mad. I'm not mad that he left. I'm mad that he sucked while he was here. We let him go, thank goodness, and the Bears overpaid for him. So I'm good. I'm glad that the Bears continue to make mistakes. I love it. That's really all that happened in the NFC North this offseason. The Packers really didn't get anybody. They did pick up Devin Funchess, who played where did he play? I knew he played with the Panthers. He played somewhere else before he came here. I didn't think he was going to be all that great. He's sitting out for the coronavirus this season. So we'll jump on down to the NFC East. And the biggest pickup for the Dallas Cowboys is CeeDee Lamb. They drafted CeeDee Lamb as he fell to them at number 17 in the draft. They lucked their way into it. CeeDee Lamb should not have gone that far, but he did because other teams were stupid. And the Cowboys got him, and he's going to be a lights-out player. It's giving the Cowboys arguably have the first or second best wide receiver crew in the league. But the biggest, that's the biggest player acquisition that they've had this offseason. They traded or they signed Coach McCarthy, who coached Green Bay. You all know his success in Green Bay, his tenure there. He won a Super Bowl. He had some good success and a good playoff run, and he knows how to coach winning football. So the Cowboys get a great head coach. And look, I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. Did I want Coach McCarthy out? Yes, I was signed for him to go. But I also can appreciate what he's done for us. I think he's going to come in and bring a winning attitude to the Dallas Cowboys. He might butt heads with Jerry Jones, but I think that he will turn his team around into a winning football team. As much as it pains me to say that, I think it will happen. And if Dak can't win with what they've got, then I don't know what else Dak can do for you. They picked up HaHa Clinton Dix, which is just a piece in the secondary. Not a guy that's going to kill it. Not a guy that's going to kill it. He's a guy that he might even be a starter from the practices going on right now. They added McCoy for the defensive line, who got injured and is out for the season. So that was quickly washed off the table. But they added other people too. I can't think of his name. What's his name? A defensive lineman, but he hasn't played football in over it's been 4 or 5 years. But they say he's in tip-top shape. So we'll see what happens with him. Going on to the Giants. The Giants had a new coach in Joe Judge that coached the Patriots. He was offensive coordinator for the Patriots last year. So he's going to be coaching them. And then they added Jason Garrett to be their offensive coordinator. So they basically want to suck on offense. So, yeah, Jason Garrett is a bad coach. I've seen him coach here in Dallas, and he's been terrible. All right, let's jump into the AFC West. There wasn't in the NFC East, the Redskins or the Washington football team really didn't make a bunch of moves to get anybody that I thought was going to be an impact player. And then the Eagles, did I not put the Eagles on it? The Eagles really didn't do much either as far as getting people. So they did draft a wide receiver from TCU. Traeger, is that his name? I'm forgetting his name. he was a good wide receiver that might help out that wide receiver room in Philadelphia. Going on the AFC West, the Denver Broncos add Melvin Gordon, which was kind of a head scratcher for me because of the fact that they already have Philip Lindsay, who is a great running back. He's a guy that gets the ball out of the backfield. He's a guy that can run between the pads, and he is small, he's fast, and he is a guy that's going to be is already a good running back, but he's a guy that I think they need to utilize a little bit more in this offense. So they're adding Melvin Gordon. I don't know if he's going to be more of their power back or what he's got left in the tank, but that should be a scary combo, Melvin Gordon and Lindsay there for the Denver Broncos. They also added AJ Bouye, a cornerback, to help out the defense because they lost Chris Harris over the offseason. But they added AJ Bouye, who played with, I think I'm pronouncing that name right, the Bouye. They added from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then he's a good cornerback. You're going to see him. I think he's going to be a really good pickup for them to help out that cornerback and defensive backfield for the Denver Broncos this season. The Raiders added a bunch of, I guess their biggest accusation was Littleton, the linebacker from the Rams. They added a wide receiver, Aguilar, from the Eagles that really he likes to drop passes. They added an old Jason Witten, who's not going to do much for you, probably a third string or second string tight end. And they added Mariota to be a backup quarterback. The Chargers added Chris Harris, great pickup from Denver Broncos. I think he's going to be great on that defense. Brian Bologna, a awesome offensive lineman from Green Bay. He will help protect their quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, right now. But they also drafted their future quarterback in Justin Herbert. So Herbert came out of Oregon. He played good quarterback in Oregon. He played good. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be able to come in and start right away. So Tyrod Taylor is going to take over that position, as far as I've heard, and go from there and start. So I think they have a team that can be led to success. The Chargers are always a team that kind of makes it to the playoffs, but they don't do anything in it. But they're going to have a hard time fighting off the Kansas City Chiefs, who is the Super Bowl champs and probably will repeat this season. Going on to the AFC South here, the Texans add Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks and David Johnson. Now they added Brandon Cooks, wide receiver, who's good in the Los Angeles Rams. I thought he would be great paired up to the DeAndre Hopkins, but they traded DeAndre Hopkins away. So they add Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb did really good for the Dallas Cowboys last year, but they didn't sign him back. And then they get a running back who, when healthy and has done good, David Johnson's a good running back, but I think they gave up way too little they got back way too little for giving up DeAndre Hopkins. The Indianapolis Colts add Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was a bad quarterback last year. He threw a lot of interceptions, and he kind of had the attitude of, well, it happens. Well, it doesn't happen if you make better throws. So I don't know. I don't see it working out too well for them. I think he's a stopgap for them. I don't think he. Now they do have a team, so they might be pretty good this year, but I just don't see Phil Rivers working out much longer before he has to retire. They grabbed Xavier Rhodes from the Minnesota Vikings. He's a guy that used to be really, really good, fantastic player. He's fallen off a lot, so we'll see if he has anything left in the tank there. And then the biggest accusation, I think, is DeForest Buckner from the San Francisco 49ers, who had a lot of sacks last year, played really well on defense. He's going to help bolster up the Indianapolis defense and go from there. So I think the Colts will still be a decent team because they got other players around it. They got a good offensive line to help protect Rivers and keep him up on his feet. So we'll see what he can add to them. The AFC North, we got the Rams. They got Calais Campbell to help the defensive line. And they also got Derek Wolfe from the Denver Broncos to help. I thought Derek Wolfe was a great player for the Denver Broncos, helped to plug up that middle. Green Bay could definitely use him. So they pick up two good players there. Calais Campbell came from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's a beast. So we'll see what they can do there. The Cincinnati Bengals draft Joe Burrow. Now, Joe Burrow was my favorite quarterback to watch last season in the college football. He played a lot of good teams. He played for LSU Tigers, won the national championship. Not only did he win the national championship, going to get to the national championship, he beat a bunch of top-tier teams. He took them out one by one. They played really well. I really liked him. I hope he works out there in Cincinnati, but he's going to be fed to the Lions this year because of the fact that COVID's going on, and he's going to have less time with, the off-season program and learning the system and everything else. And then the Bengals don't have a lot of good weapons for him. I hope the offensive line is decent so he's not running for his life. But I hope to see him succeed, and I hope to see him succeed in Cincinnati. We'll see what there. The Steelers really didn't do a whole lot. They're going to get Big Ben Roethlisberger back this year. We'll see how much he has left in the tank. They added tight end Ebron from the Colts. And the Browns, the messy Browns, they had Austin Hooper to help out the Browns' passing attack. They're hoping that they'll get a more motivated Baker Mayfield this year. They got plenty of talent. They got plenty of talent. They got a new coach that's got to come in here and whip them into shape and whip them into wanting to play and be motivated. I hope to see that for them. This team has been through the mud for years and years and years. And last year when they had all this talent, people predicted them to win the Super Bowl, and they were horrible. So that has a lot to do. Baker Mayfield came out and apologized that he wasn't ready for last season. Going on to the AFC East here, the last division we're going to talk about. The Buffalo Bills got Josh Norman. Who exactly? Josh Norman, the player that has always been overhyped. I don't think he's going to help out that much. They got Stephon Diggs, who's a really good wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. Trust me, I've seen him tear up my team a couple times over the few years, but he does have an attitude issue. He does want the ball a lot, and he will. I think he found himself, he called out his quarterback a lot in Minnesota, and he gave out. I think he kind of forced his way out of Minnesota. He goes there, and I don't know if Josh Allen's going to be better than Kirk Cousins getting him the ball, but he definitely does help out that offense. The Dolphins added Kyle Van Noy, linebacker for the Patriots. I think that's a great pickup for them. Kyle Van Noy is a really good linebacker. He played with the Patriots. He's been coached really well, so he's going to come there and add to that defense. Shaq Lawson, defensive end, and they're good players as well. They added Byron Jones from the Dallas Cowboys. This is a guy that I thought Dallas was going to and will probably regret letting go. That's their biggest need. They let him go. He's a good coverage corner. He's going to help out that defense. Definitely going to help out that passing game. And he might not get a bunch of turnovers, but he will shut down your wide receivers. So I think it's a big acquisition for them. Dallas just wasn't willing to pay the money. They drafted up, though, their future quarterback, and they drafted up their future quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Tua is going to be their future. Now, that was a big risk because all his injuries that he's had. And in college football, he's had a lot of injuries. He's had a lot of surgeries, and that has cost him. Could have cost him the number one spot going out. Maybe Cincinnati was planning on picking him up, but they picked up Joe Burrow instead. He goes to Miami, and Miami, I think, is going to be a pretty good team once Tua learns the system and gets into it. Ryan Fitzpatrick right now is beaten Tua out for starting the job, and I think it's smart to sit Tua out this year. Put him as your starting backup quarterback, or not starting backup, but your number two quarterback, your backup quarterback to Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I think giving him this time, especially with the coronavirus and the shorter off season and the no preseason games, I think it's smart to not play your rookie quarterback. And that's why Joe Burrow out there in Cincinnati is going to be thrown to the Wolves this year, I think. So we'll see what happens with him. We'll see what happens with Tua and the Miami Dolphins. But the Miami Dolphins, I think, are on the uptick. They got a coach, and he's setting his ways in there, and he's doing the things he likes to do, and he's adding players to the team, and they're spending money out there. So we could see the tide turn where Miami's actually a decent football team. That is the end of the T-Box there. Hope you guys have a great week. We're looking forward to the NBA playoffs. My Lakers are up 3-1 on the Blazers. For all you fools out there, because the Blazers won their first game, who thought Charles Barkley thought we were going to be swept by the Blazers? Ridiculous. We dominated the last 2 games. Damian Lillard didn't show up in Game 3. He's out for Game 5. I think we'll put it away tonight. We play tonight, and I think the Clippers take out the Mavericks next game, which is Thursday night, and that's where we're headed to. I think we're headed to LA versus LA to go to the championship, and I don't know. I predicted that the Clippers will win it all this year, so I'm still going to pick that, but I'm hoping that the Lakers can kind of slow them down. Now that Paul George has found his little niche, and he has to talk to the team psychiatrist to be better. But all that being said, with everything going on, the coronavirus, I hope you guys are staying safe, being safe, and trying to do your part to help slow down this virus. But at the same point in time, I went out and I bought kid masks the other day, because I'm getting to the point where these kids have to get out of the house, where we're going to have to go on and live our life and be smart about it and the decisions we make. But we're going to get to a point where we've just got to get on with life. And I think a lot of us have that feeling. I don't think I'm the only one along with that. So that being said, I hope you guys can continue living your life as we try to get back to, I guess, what we consider the new normal now. And I hope you guys are finding ways to be positive and healthy. And I want to challenge you guys to use your social media feeds to just spread positive things. I need to be better at that. This week I've put out some things that aren't so positive, but I need to be better at that. And I need to be better at spreading positive things. So I think that's one thing I need to work on. I'm going to challenge you guys to do that too, to fill your posts and your things with positives, because it's easy to see the negative, right? It's easy to get down on life. It's easy to get down on things that are going around, all this craziness happening in the world, whether it be corona, whether it be racial injustice, whether it be a race war that people might be trying to start, whether it be the election of who you're voting for, and all the Donald Trump hate and all the Biden hate and everything going on like that. It's easy to see the negative. It's out there everywhere you look. So I challenge you to be the sunlight in someone's life. I challenge you to be that pretty sunset to someone. Put a smile on someone's face. Post positive things. Send some positive vibes. Challenge yourself to go out and help your neighbor and help those around you. Look for opportunities to help. Pray for opportunities to help others. I'm going to challenge myself to do that too, and going to challenge myself to be better. And as long as we're trying to be better ourselves every day, a day by day, I think a lot will come of that. So I hope you guys have a great week. Look forward to hearing some more stuff. I was wrong. Look forward to hearing more stuff about PlayStation. I was wrong. There's not going to be much coming out with PlayStation this month. It looks like it's going to be next month where they're going to reveal. And when they reveal, they should be revealing everything and opening the floodgates on all the information for the PS5 coming out. I hope you guys are able to slow down life, see the small things, have positive vibes, and continue to post positive stories on your social medias. Guys, I hope you have a great week. Finish out this week strong. It's almost Friday. God bless you.
I want you to visualize all those people that have been mean to you, and then I want you to attack. I want you to visualize and then attack. Can you handle that?
I tried.
Just gonna try.
What's the matter with you, boy? You too stupid to do what your coach tells you?
No. No what? I didn't mean to hurt you. Coach told me to pretend.